Hi, this is Unity Yoga Pilates, and I am Monica. I'm going to give you a quick little tutorial here on something that I think is super important. So one of the major components of a vinyasa class, or many yoga classes, is the sun salutation, and that includes the vinyasa, which is the movement going from your plank down to the mat and then to your down dog. That going down to the mat is really hard, the chaturanga for some people, and I really want people to protect their joints, and I see all the time people doing things in their chaturanga, their cobra, or their up dog, and their down dog that can be really damaging to the shoulders if you do it for many years. Yoga is a practice that we hope we can do for our entire lives, but if you do it for your whole life with poor alignment and putting pressure on your joints, you're actually likely to do more harm than good. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be healthy. And that means protecting your joints. For those of you who already know you have hypermobility in your joints, this probably means you're very good at yoga. You tend to be more flexible. You have a lot of movement in your joints. You actually need to be the most careful because your joints are already moving so freely. The ligaments and tendons are already kind of stretched or loosened. And so you need to really protect your joints. So quickly, anatomy, we have muscles, we have bones, we have joints where the bones meet, and at the joints are tendons and ligaments. One of the major differences between muscles and tendons and ligaments is that muscles are very elastic, meaning they stretch and then they come back. So if you overstretch a muscle, it will repair itself and it'll go back to normal eventually. With your ligaments and tendons, the more you stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, they don't snap back like a muscle does. So we want to avoid overstretching them and doing damage because the ligaments and tendons are there to keep your bones in place, to keep the joint in place so that your arm doesn't disconnect from the rest of your body. So I'm going to teach you some ways to make sure that you're strengthening the muscles around the joints. This time we're going to be specifically thinking of the shoulder. The rotator cuff it's often called, which is actually a whole bunch of small muscles, so that you're strengthening the muscles, and that's going to give you the benefit of stronger muscles, the definition that you're looking for, and then also that you're protecting those joints from injury. Okay, so we're just going to be looking at the chaturanga, up dog, and or cobra, and down dog today. Okay, so I usually advise my students, particularly those of you who are more beginners, to work from your knees. So if you come to a full plank first and then drop down to your knees, you'll find that you're in the right position for modified plank. We don't want our knees right here under our hips in a tabletop. We want our knees out. I often say it's like a slope. If you were to put a marble here at the top of your head, that marble should roll down and off your back. What we don't want are dropped hips. That puts pressure on your low back. And we don't really want to stick our bottoms out here, okay? We're looking for an angle. In yoga, what we want to do, and when we lower down, is bend our elbows towards our body, brushing our rib cage. So this is a modified version of the chaturanga. You're going to lower down. You're really aiming your chest for the mat. Chest, 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 chest. Notice my hips are slightly lifted. Once your chest comes down, then we transition. The hips come down, the chest comes up, and you find yourself in cobra. We don't want shoulders by the ears, crunching up here. We don't want our elbows flaring out. So think about pulling the elbows back towards the body and rolling the shoulders down and back. You can have your cobra be way down here. That's fine, okay? So this is sort of a baby cobra, but this is absolutely fine. If you have more flexibility in your back, your cobra can be here. But making sure that this doesn't happen, okay? The more advanced option for that is going to be from our toes. So you're going to start in that plank position, and then the same idea, the elbows bend by the body, brush the rib cage, the chest comes all the way down to the mat, then the hips, release the toes, and press up to your cobra from here. The most advanced option is going to be your up dog. Up dog is considered an advanced posture because you can put pressure on your low back, and I want you to avoid that. So I'm going to show you how we do the chaturanga into an up dog, and then we're going to talk a lot about the shoulders from up dog, okay? So once again, you're in your plank, your hips are not dropped, your butt's not up in the air, parallel to the floor. We're going to lower down almost to the mat. The elbows are going to come to about a 90-degree angle, but we don't want to pop up into our shoulders. From here, flip the feet, and then we press up into our up dog. What I want you to notice about the up dog is a couple of things. First of all, my shoulders are not up by my ears, right? I'm lifting, pulling them down and back. I also don't want to lock out my elbows. Locked elbows put pressure on the joint. It's really strong, right? Your arms are strong here, but you're not using your muscles. Put a tiny bend in your elbows and you use your muscles more. And then think about the hips. Yes, there's an arch in the back, but we want to contract the glutes. We want to think about pressing down with the hips, lifting up and opening with the chest, but not dropping into them. I see this a lot. I also see the locked elbows and sort of pushing down the hips, puts too much pressure on the low back. Think about lifting, 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 opening the chest. And with the head, I don't like to see this action on up dog or cobra. That puts a lot of pressure in the back of your neck. Find a neutral neck position, okay? So by doing that, you saw my arms were shaking. By doing that, it's a much more active posture. So think about a tiny micro bend in our arms, rolling the shoulders down and back away from the ears, and opening, and think about lengthening the spine. So from the top of the head to the tailbone, we're lengthening. We don't want at any point there to be a harsh curve or harsh angle, okay? From there, whether you're in cobra or in your upward facing dog, we're gonna curl our toes under and push up and back to down dog. Down dog is one of those postures that more advanced practitioners or people who have a lot of hypermobility in their shoulders can get this lovely triangle position by pressing their chest towards their legs like this. I'm going to turn towards you for a moment because I want you to look at my shoulders here. Let me get my hair out of the way so you can see better. Okay. When you're standing, we never want our shoulders by our ears, but for some reason in down dog, people want to do this. I don't know if you can see how much pressure is being put upon my shoulders here, but it's a lot. And my arms and my back muscles aren't really active. My elbows are locked, putting pressure on those joints. And there's a lot of weight being borne on the joints of my shoulders rather than in my muscles. What I want you to do is think about, just like if your arms are up here, we don't have our shoulders here, do we? We roll them down away from our ears. I want you to think about that movement. What that's going to do is put a lot of pressure on your back here. Not pressure, but it's going to make your back work. Your back muscles are going to work all across here rather than putting that weight on your shoulders. Equally, instead of locking out your elbows, especially if you're hypermobile, put a tiny little bend in your elbow. You'll notice you're going to start shaking. You're using your muscles more than relying on that rigidity of the joints. So it looks like this. Palms are spread. We want actually our index finger to be pointing forward, not the middle finger. That's going to help that outward rotation. Palms are spread, equal pressure. They're outstretched in front of us. And then instead of having shoulders by the ears, think about rolling the shoulders down and away. Now I'm not nearly so bouncy. I can't really bounce to my thighs where people are here bouncing. That puts lots of pressure on those shoulder joints. Think about bringing this part of your body towards the ceiling, your sit bones, rather than your chest towards your legs. If your feet are lifting off the mat, that's fine if your heels lift up, but think about driving them towards the mat. So even if they don't reach it, the energy is driving towards the mat, down, 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 down. And again, not locking our elbows. Soft micro bend, shoulders down and away, and quite quickly you'll feel your muscles start to work. So we're building strength in the back, in the muscles surrounding the shoulders, in the arms, and we're reducing the pressure on the elbows and on the shoulders. Okay? So this is what it would look like. We're down in our forward fold, right? You're going to step back, or if you're doing power yoga, maybe you jump back. You're going to lower down in that chaturanga, elbows by the rib cage. Flip the feet, come up to that upward facing dog with a little micro bend in the elbows, opening up the chest, curl the toes under, leave your hands where they are, press back to your down dog. A lot of people tend to want to walk their hands towards their feet, leave them where they are. And then from here, you would just step back to the front of the mat and bring yourself up. Okay? So that's my little tutorial on your up dog, your down dog, and your cobra. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them. I want you to build your strength, I want you to build your flexibility, and I want you to be able to practice yoga for a really long time to come. So thank you so much for listening. My name is Monica. This is Unity Yoga and Pilates.